And welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. In this installment of the Volkswagen T1 Samba bus, I'll be working on stages 33 through 37. I'll be completing all the seats and the floors for the Volkswagen bus. Now, if you haven't done so already, head over to DeAgostini Collectibles, check out this build and subscribe to it today. They have lots of other builds available, the GT40, the American Cars collection. They have a lot of fantastic stuff going on. So check them out. I put a direct link and promo code down below. So without further ado, let's get started. And welcome back. We received 5 stages with Pack 8, stages 33 through 37. And let's look at the magazine here real quick. We'll briefly thumb through the pages here. And this is for magazine 34, which I thought was very interesting here because it gives the history of the brand for the Volkswagen. So it's great articles here, great photographs. A lot of research was done by DeAgostini for these. This magazine runs around 12 to 13 pages. And then we get right into the assembly instructions. And in this case, it's the rear seat bottom. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the parts next. Stage 33 is the rear seat base. Stage 34 is the rear seat bottom. Stage 35 is the spare wheel housing and rear seat. Stage 36 is installing the spare wheel housing. And lastly, stage 37, the cargo floor and front floor installation. Let's get started on stage 33. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 33. This time we're going to assemble the rear seat base. And these are the parts included along with the assembly diagram. We're going to attach the seat supports, which we received in the previous pack. There's 3 of them total, using BPO3 screws. And that's how that goes there. And we'll receive a spare screw with this. We'll save that for future use, possibly. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts pack for stage 33. I'll take this out, we'll get a closer look. BPO3 screws, and here's the rear seat base. Let's get started. Now we'll go ahead and install the seat supports. Of course, this one right here goes on the bottom in the middle, just like that. And that just takes one BPO3 screw, just like that. And we'll put in the outside ones. Now notice the angle, sharp angle towards the back here. Same thing with the other seat base, sharp angle towards the back. We'll put in 2 BPO3s. Go ahead and put in the other side. And the last one here. And just make them snug. You don't have to make them real tight or they might strip out, but there you go. That's how that looks. That's all we do for stage 33. Let's go ahead and do stage 34. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 34. This time we're going to assemble the rear seat bottom. And that's all the parts we received. And there's the assembly instructions. We're going to get the rear seat bottom from pack 7. We're going to mount that to the base itself. Looks like we want to make sure the edges go over the bottom of the base. And then we put in, looks like 5 BPO4 screws. Then we put in the seat backrest. We use BPO3s for that. And we'll have a whole lot of BPO3 screws left over. And that's what it will look like. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's parts pack for 34. I'll take these out, we'll get a closer look. BPO3, BPO4 screws, and here's the seat bottom. It's the seat back itself we need to bring over to complete this assembly. Here's a seat back, so we're going to have that installed. Kind of looks something like that. So we're simply going to slide this over the bottom there. You can see how it lines up with those 3 screw holes right there. So we're just going to slide this in, kind of like that. There we go. Perfect. 5 BPO4 screws go into this. And the last one. That looks good there. Now we'll bring over the seat back. The seat back is just going to insert into those 5 tabs. And 5 BPO3 screws go into this. Of course, I'm doing the middle one first. Should allow the rest to line up. And the last one. That's good there. And that's how that looks there. That's the seat back. That's all we do for stage 34. Let's do stage 35. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 35. This time we get parts for the spare wheel housing, and looks like we're going to assemble the rear seat, but here's the parts for the spare wheel housing and the assembly diagram. So this time we gather our parts from pack 7, which is the heater element, and we're going to install that first, the floor heater element there. BPO3 screws are used for that. Then we're going to install the rear seat. Once again, BPO3 screws are used for that. And then identify the parts that we need for the next assembly stage, and that's what it should look like when we're done. So let me get the parts for stage 35. Here's the parts for stage 35. Let me take them out, we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. This will hide the spare wheel. It's made of plastic. Armrest for it. And ashtray, cigarette ashtray for that. Got some chrome BPO7 screws. Let me bring over the floor assembly. Everything we completed from stage 7, and that's what that looks like. So our heating unit for the floor is actually going to go in the back here, and it's simply going to go down. It's going to go down into these 2 notches here, just like that. And looks like we just put one in. Okay, that looks good there. Now we're going to go ahead and assemble the floor next, and that's simply just going to mount down on these 3 points that you see. We're going to need 5 BPO3 screws. And we got one that goes right there. And the last one. And that's how that looks. Looks great. And that's all we do for stage 35. Let's head over and do stage 36. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 36. And we're going to install the spare wheel housing. This is the parts we received with this stage. And obviously we're going to do the rear wheel housing because that's a cargo floor. We're not doing that at this stage. We're going to do that the next stage. We're going to install the handle first, and that just press fits in place. After that, we're going to install the cigarette ashtray, and that gets screwed in with one of those BPO7 screws. It's a chrome screw. Then we're going to go ahead and mount the wheel cover. And that's what that looks like there. And should all look very nice there. That's what it will look like completed. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 36. I'll take these out, we'll get a closer look. BPO6 screws and the cargo floor we received here. We're going to assemble this in the next stage, so we'll put that aside. First thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble this handle, and that's going to go in those two slots. And like I was saying, it's press fit. And that's how that looks there. We're going to assemble the ashtray onto the spare wheel cover. And there's a larger hole and a smaller hole, so it only goes in one way. BPO7 screw goes into that, small chrome one. That looks good there. Now we're going to mount this. And you can see this mounts to those two tabs on the back side of the panel there. Everything just snaps in place here. There we go. All snapped in. And that's all we do for stage 36. Let's head over and do the final stage, stage 37. Let's look at the build instructions for the final stage for Pack 8, stage 37. This time we received parts for the cargo floor, and we're going to install the front floor installation. And that's the assembly diagram right there. Looks very cool. First thing we do is we install the rear cargo floor. We're going to put that in with 3 BPO6 screws. And that's how that should look. Then we're going to get the front cargo floor, mount that in place, and that goes in with 5 BPO6 screws. And that's how the cargo floor will look. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 37. I'll take these out, we'll get a closer look. BPO6 screws, and this is all plastic. The front of the cargo floor. Very nice. And here's our cargo floor. We're going to put the rear cargo floor on first and bring it over. And you can see it's just going to mount on these 3 tabs right here, just like that. So I'll flip it over. BPO6 screws goes into this, 3 of them. And the last one, they don't need to be too tight, just till it's snug. That's good there. Perfect. Turn it over, that's how that looks there. Now we'll put in the front cargo floor. And that mounts much the same way from underneath, just like that. We'll turn this over. Turn this over, and that's going to go just like that. 5 BPO6 screws go into this, and the last one. Great. That's how that looks. And that's how our floor looks there. And that's all we do for stage 37. And that was the final stage for pack 8. So this completes pack 8. You can see the floor is completely finished here. And obviously we're going to be adding components for the steering and for the driving mechanism of this car up front. But I think it looks fantastic. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for all video upload notifications. And please give me a thumbs up. Head over to DeAgostini Collectibles and subscribe to this bus today. I put a link and promo code down below. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.